Shalom, Israel. Just want to give y'all this lesson and just really be descriptive, show you a visual aid. Actually, I think this map would be better. All right. So in this map, you see different countries, different lands. All right. I want to go into the 10 tribes and how they got here and actually show you. Recently had a conversation with a brother and, we was going over this. So without further ado, I'm just going to read, right? So it says, those are the 10 tribes which was carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanasar, the king of Assyria, led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. So now, this is where this is our land right here. You see the pink? This is Israel, and actually a lot of this other land that's other countries belongs to us. Now, I want to also talk about a lot of the stuff that prophecies and things in the Bible. A lot of these lands are very close to one another. Turkey, same place as Istanbul. This is where Noah's Ark was found. Also, South Georgia, Russia. This is where the Caucasus Mountains are located at, between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea. Iran, Persia, basically. Iraq, former Babylon. So now, we were in this region, and, basically what happened was, says verse 41, but they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen. So you got to imagine a people that's in captivity, but it's a, when we imagine captivity, we imagine we're all in slave quarters and shit. Like, yeah, that's one type of captivity, but we're still in captivity today, and we're in a type of captivity where we could have a council among ourselves, right? And they didn't have recording devices like they do now at this time. So it says that they would leave the multitude of the heathen. So they want to leave all these motherfuckers, all these goddamn heathens in all these lands. They wanted to get the hell away from all of them, right? It says, and go forth into a further country. So obviously a further country, further away from all of this. A further country where never mankind dwelt. Now let's take a look at the whole known world at the time, right? You had Africa that was already populated by the sons of Ham. You had Europe that was in a transitional period between the Japhites and the Edomites. You have the Middle East, which was mostly, it was still a lot of Ham and Ishmael in here. And you have all of this, you have certain parts of the Middle East was Elam too. You have the Orientals, the children of Moab and Ammon. And then you have Japhites here in these islands, these different islands. So this is all inhabited. So what's the further country where never mankind dwelt that the 10 tribes were going to go to? You can either say it's this region, or you can say it's Antarctica. Now, a people that's located in this area, very hot area, it stands to reason we would go to a warmer climate. So Antarctica's out. Just thinking practically, just think about it logically. We're a people that's from the Middle East. The Middle East is very hot. It's not very likely we'll go to the freezing cold. Because technically you could say that to this day, Antarctica is a country where never mankind dwelt. Right? So the money is on North, Central, and South America. Because everything else has been inhabited other than Antarctica. So it says that they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow places of the river, rather. Right? So where is the Euphrates? Euphrates is in Iraq. Salat. I can't even see which river. Euphrates is here. Right? Because the Tigris and Euphrates kind of are close by each other. So they go in through here, right? Follow me now. Into this region, which is known as the Arabian Sea, which is in the Indian Ocean. So now, once we get out into the open water, do you think to get to that further country where never mankind dwelt, it wouldn't make sense for us to go this way because we got to go through all of this, right? So we're here, and we sell likely this way. So now, the smart money is on either Uruguay, Argentina, or Brazil as far as where we landed when we got here. Right? So it says, for the Most High then showed signs for them and held still the flood till they were passed over. So these waters are likely usually turbulent and, very harsh waters, but the Lord held them still till we got here. And it says, for through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, and the same region is called Arsareth. So now we landed here, right? And then we began to disperse through the different places where later on we were captives. Now, one thing else that I want to point out is that the Caribbean was, of course, inhabited at this time by all 10 tribes. So even countries that later on, like TNT, Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, Grenada, Guadeloupe, Dominica, all of this was inhabited by 10 tribes, so-called Hispanics. And then, later on when they brought the so-called black tribes, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, then they started populating the Caribbean and the United States. But that's the passage of the 12 tribes, is very important for us to understand how they got here. Because, people wonder why a lot of the tribes that wound up in the Caribbean went through South America first. That's because South America is the closest thing to South Africa, the southern part of Africa, where we sailed around. Because that's the only way we could have got here, logically speaking. See that? So likely we landed in either Brazil, Uruguay, or Argentina. I mean, you take your pick. We go from here. If we went straight, it was Argentina, a little bit north, Uruguay, or Brazil. Look at all of what Brazil encompasses. Right? So that's a very important thing to understand. And then we dispersed, and Gad and Reuben went to Canada and United States. Issachar went to Mexico. Then you got all this is Zebulon. You got Asher over here. Up to here is Zebulon. Then you got Asher. You got Andes. So this is Chile. This is Chile and Argentina. That's Naphtali. Like I said, Asher and all of them. So, that's just more or less a breakdown of how we got here. A lot of times you got to look at a map to see what the hell, what went on, who went where and stuff. But with that, I'm going to say shalom.